Welcome to Here's How We Get There. It's the daily show filled with conversations about business and mental health in a down-to-earth style with real-world language. Now let's dive in with your co-hosts, Kenneth Shark-Kinney and Trey Tucker.
All right, Trey, we got a little Tonight Show news, but Jimmy Fallon has been accused, and it's been brought out in a Rolling Stone article that a lot of the people on his staff, roughly about 16, I believe, are accusing him of very toxic behavior. What are your thoughts on what's going on?
So first of all, we have to say we don't know what parts of these are true, but I can tell you as a therapist, I get to fairly regularly work with people in the public limelight, whether it be actors, musicians, what have you. And what I've noticed on the majority of the
name
time,
drop and tell us.
If I want to get in trouble, sure. But generally speaking, the more creative somebody is, it usually means that they're kind of tortured on the inside, and they're going through so much on the inside, and their way of processing it, dealing with it, is to express, whether through music or comedy or acting, what have you. So I don't know what Fallon's actual issues are. He's being accused of some alcoholism and being drunk on the set. Who knows if that's true? But I know, generally speaking, comedians are pretty tortured individuals, and comedy is their way of oftentimes working out whatever they're going through. So if any of that stuff is true, I hate it, number one, for him, and then number two, for the people that are apparently being affected by it, because obviously he's in no position to be managing his staff in those kind of conditions. However, I'm going to rip him on this because, according to an article, he made an apology to his staff that was the classic non-apology. The very first sentence was, "I'm sorry if I embarrassed you." And I mean, you and I both know this. There's a playbook for apologies, and the very first sentence has to be owning it. So I'm sorry, I blank, whatever it is. And I'm sure his lawyers told him to be careful and whatnot. But if you're going to apologize, do it. If you're not going to apologize, just hold back and say something else. But the whole thing, "I'm sorry if I embarrassed you or if I offended you," let's not even go there. What do you think, Shark?
So I got a lot of thoughts about this. First of all, I read the article, and it bothers me on a lot of different levels. One, the 16 people, some current staffers, some former or anonymous.
Mm-hmm.
That is such a load of bunk.
Yep.
Right now, I think somebody's trying to cancel him. They're trying to Ellen DeGeneres him out of a job. You know, the writer's strike is going on while this is going on. And what do you know? A block comes up, a story comes up with probably some frustrated staffers. The guy's I'm not a big fan of his comedy anymore, but I've never heard anything other than he generally was a very sweet and nice guy. And I did stand-up comedy, and I completely believe the tortured soul issues. Probably if I was more tortured, I'd be more successful. However, I've not heard that a lot about Jimmy. Can anybody get upset over your career? Sure. There was a reference to something where he had a blow up in 2017. I probably had 50 blow ups in 2017 with employees. Who hasn't? There was the reference to where he got frustrated with Amy Poehler that came out in the video from like a decade ago. Okay. I mean, there's 365 days a year. Once in a while, will somebody who's in one of the most high profile jobs in the country, somebody not like something he did, or maybe he frustrated somebody who was new to the set, like Amy Poehler was? Absolutely. It could happen. But I mean, one, I don't want to hear him apologize. If he's got an alcohol problem, then apologize, go get help. I pray that's if that's it, then get help. Mm-hmm. I also did read, and I'm not trying to discount the feelings, because if he was wrong to the people, then he was wrong. I've been mean to staff before, and I regret a lot of it. Not all of it. Some of it just came with the job. But I did read where some of the people not claim, I don't want to use the wrong kind of words, but some of them said they were even driven to points of thinking about suicide. Mm-hmm. That's horrible. I don't want anybody to ever live in any kind of job like that.
Right.
But go get another job. I mean, the economy's been good. Go get another job. If you work for a crappy boss, go get another job. I've worked for an alcoholic before. You know what I did? I quit and I left. There were other jobs. There were other people that wanted me more than somebody who had a drinking problem. And I'm not trying to give him an out by any stretch of it. If he did it and he was wrong, he was wrong.
Mm-hmm.
All we have is 16 anonymous people and a clickbaity type ad beating somebody down in cancel culture. And if this is not like Donald Trump, where everybody picks on him all the time, this is somebody who generally, you don't hear a bunch of bad stuff about Jimmy Fallon. And I find it very frustrating. And I don't want him to hem and haw around his apology like it was written by his press people.
Yep.
Let us know if the problem's real. Deal with it. You're high profile. He's got a lot of talent and generally seems to be a lot better. Treat your employees better. Obviously, he needs to do that. But the whole anonymous thing again, it's tough to see this go on over and over. And for whatever it's worth, I hope he stands up and doesn't let himself get canceled if he's in the right. If he's not, go get help.
Amen.
And if these same people who probably are writing about empathy, show him some grace.
Yes, thank you. Restoration, grace. Yes.
Exactly. We'll be here all week, but not on the Tonight Show. So
maybe soon.
Thank you for joining Shark and Trey on the Here's How We Get There show. Make sure to rate, review, and subscribe to the show and visit here'showwegetthere.com. That's here'showwegetthere.com.